Scotland, the Findhorn spiritual community has for more than 40 years provided a haven for alternative ways of living.
Do you know, we believe in fairies.
One of their main beliefs involves talking to plants.
We can communicate with the plant and ask for its cooperation.
And some are even into hugging trees.
It's an experience which is similar to sexual.
But not everybody agrees with their unusual way of life.
They are a bunch of anarchists who do not deliberately want to accept someone as their guru.
For guests, a one-week shot of this spiritual anarchy will cost £330.
I connected with the mermaids today.
But visitors are put to work.
I never thought I'd see the day where I'd be cleaning men's toilets.
So what is it that makes Findhorn one of the most successful alternative communities in the world? It's the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, and in Findhorn it's a day for dancing and celebration. Making a rare appearance is Eileen Caddy, one of the 3 original founders of the Findhorn community. She's come to cook her signature dish for special occasions.
It's fun. I love doing omelets.
Just over 40 years ago, Eileen and her late husband towed their caravan into the sand dunes near the remote fishing village of Findhorn in Scotland. Eileen claimed they were told to go there by God, and they grew famous for communicating with plants and growing enormous vegetables. In the 60s, hippies and eccentrics from all over the world came to Findhorn. Ever since, they've tried to live a life of material simplicity, self-sufficiency and service to the God within.
It's midsummer. We're celebrating all the abundance that we have. Thank God for the chickens.
Helping Eileen in the communal kitchens is Craig Gibson. One of the early members, he's now considered a community elder.
Perfect omelette. Look at that. Exquisite. Thank you, Eileen. 87 and going strong. This is an Australian omelette. In other words, it's a bit of a bastard.
Craig and Eileen have seen the community grow to a population of 450. They practice communal living, try to be environmentally sound and generate their own electricity. They've also created a centre for spiritual enlightenment. Members get free board and lodgings in caravans and eco-houses, but have to earn their keep cooking, gardening and cleaning, and are paid just £200 a month.
Have you got your sticks?
I've got one stick around the corner.
Okay.
Eileen remains a spiritual icon, but she's increasingly frail and there's concern over her health.
No, she needs to go and put her feet up, I think.
She rarely plays an active part in the community these days.
I'm still here so that I can keep on sending love and spirituality out to the community.
The community used to make decisions based on guidance from God through Eileen, but in 1971 it stopped.
I was getting guidance every day, every night actually, and I was told no more guidance for the community. Everybody should be getting guidance for their own lives and for the life of the community.
Without Eileen's guidance, the community have had to make their own decisions. They have their own community council, but Cornelia Featherstone has chosen the solstice to restart an old tradition.
So Core Group is a new initiative to create a body of committed people in this community that meet regularly and hold this community on a spiritual level, but also serve as a body of consciousness to incarnate the changes that we are invoking.
Those who believe they're in touch with their inner God will attempt to meditate to receive guidance and help make major community decisions.
So I am willing to be in core group, so I step into the circle. Anybody else who is willing to be in core group can do so.
So now I'll lead an angel meditation to connect to one particular angel.
For this important event, the group draw at random an angel card that will represent their guiding spirit.
And let's welcome the angel of love.
The gathering express their approval in the usual Findhorn fashion by wiggling their fingers. Guided by the angel of love, Cornelia and the core group's first task will be to consider a new community logo. The community attracts more than 14,000 visitors a year. Many come for a special initiation or experience week, the first step to becoming a member. This week, 19 people have each paid around £330, but some are uncertain as to what it's all about.
Well, after I looked, I saw some website where it said some references and Findhorn was listed, and I clicked on it, and it had no real substantial information.
Married and living in Minnesota, Sandra Paddock left her job and decided she needed to see the world, but has no idea why she came to Findhorn.
You know, I'm liberal enough, but, you know, New Age sounds just like, you know, some hippie 60s thing, and I've always been kind of, oh, that's just not my thing, and I never really intended to come to a spiritual community when I had first started my trip a couple months ago, but here I am.
Michaela, 25 from New Zealand, is travelling the world visiting spiritual communities.
For me personally, I came here to really balance myself, bring the mental, emotional and spiritual side of myself and physical side of myself all together in balance, connecting with the earth as well, and in such a beautiful place, and having that connectedness with like-minded individuals is part of what I'm here for.
And Shirley Plunkett from Donegal works as a holistic healer.
I feel a connection with the land here in Scotland, and this land feels very special. And so I think a lot of people are attracted to come here from all over the world. And it's a wonderful spiritual place. It's more than just a spiritual place. It's a place of learning, of development, of growth, and I suppose people helping people, and that's wonderful.
Due to take charge of Shirley and the other newcomers is Franco Santoro, a resident at Findhorn and expert in shamanism. In the Findhorn spiritual community, resident Franco Santoro is leading a shamanic trance dance. He's been living and working in Findhorn in the northeast of Scotland for 8 years.
Here there are so many different spiritual paths. People come from all kinds of spiritual backgrounds. And what, in my view, identifies the spirituality here is a sense of respect for the path of everybody. For me, shamanic work is connected also with my original traditions. I'm not a Native American. I was born in Italy, so I was raised as a Christian. So it's a way of honoring also my traditional religion. I see so many connections. And actually through this work I've come to accept the value of these traditions and to respect them.
Today, Franco will take charge of a group of 19 newcomers taking part in a special initiation or experience week. It's the first step for those that are interested in joining the community.
All the materials in this space are all recycled, so it takes a lot of time, saves a lot of money, but for physical work and effort, it's certainly very demanding.
For community elder Craig Gibson, who's built his home in Findhorn, beliefs like Franco's are part of their acceptance of all faiths and religions.
This place is very eclectic. The thing that I'm amazed about it is that it draws to itself a wide range of very individualistic people. You could almost say a bunch of anarchists. So many people in the community have rejected many of the attitudes and values of our present-day society, particularly around, just blatant consumerism, for instance. So it attracts to itself people who are bucking the system. Many of us came out of London and we'd already been on the streets protesting and creating some pretty good scenes. And then you found this place and your freedom and your individuality was still allowed to flourish. A nice blend of what I would see the individual and the collective. So there's no real one dogma that's holding this place together other than, well, if you want to put it loosely, love.
As an elder, Craig takes on certain responsibilities. Today he'll play host to a mysterious visitor.
The Bhakti Yogi, Ramacharya Ji, Kailash Chandra, I think. He is a Bhakti Yogi from India.
Krishna Prishthaya.
Indian Guru, His Divine Grace Kailasha Chandra, and his wife are visiting the Findhorn community. His Divine Grace is the founder of the Global Bhakti Yoga Society. He wants Findhorn to adopt him as their new leader. First, he's planning to curry favour by preparing a meal in the community kitchens.
Today we're extremely happy that we got this privilege of being able to cook for the Lordship. There's nothing which gives more pleasure to us than being able to cook.
Unlike Findhorn's, the Guru's beliefs come with rules.
Kaya is making some dessert.
Yes.
Hopefully there will be no eggs in it. The rules for the offering are that we avoid the embryonic matter or flesh of any kind when you're making offering to the Lord. But we can take byproducts of the animals, for example milk, yogurt, cheese, butter, curd, we can make from that, so like that. So but if you can just not put eggs, then we can offer it to the Lord. We just sing and take every step as a dance. In the spiritual world, every word is a song and every step is a dance. So we'll just dance our way into the kitchen, into cooking. Aloo, gobi, matar, sabji. Aloo, yeah. Sticking, date, pudding. It is our pleasure to be able to contribute, to be able to put back something in the community. And this is the most wonderful opportunity to be able to do that. Cook for everybody. Oh, Craig from Australia has brought some coriander.
All the way from India. All the way in the north of Scotland. 3 degrees from the Arctic Circle. Coriander.
Coriander, amazing. He's got a hot house, he's got a green thumb.
He's here because we exist and we're thriving and we're one of the leading edge demonstrational so-called spiritual places on the planet.
We would like to incorporate all the advancement or the, shall we say, principles which Findhorn has already incorporated successfully into the community. So we would like to learn them firsthand, see what they have done, and perhaps incorporate them all into the communities which we have.
Back home in the Bhakti Yogis communities, there's a strictly God-centric religion. For him, a community without that religious focus is immoral.
We would like to make a point that the center of these communities have to be the Supreme Lord, the Lord. When we have Lord in the center, then automatically Lord's kingdom is all around. Because most of the communities in the world are based upon very nice, benevolent principles of love, caring and sharing. But unfortunately some of them do not acknowledge and do not really consciously put God in the center of the community.
We are not particularly religious and we're not particularly devotional, even though we celebrate life and we celebrate diversity, but we're much more, in a sense, you could say, spiritual. We say, you, just as much as me, can be a teacher, that we're all teaching one another. So we become far more eclectic and less dogmatic. So, of course, from his perspective, he will see us not having, you could say, a really clearly identifiable spiritual practice. And yet I try to say, well, an attunement, a meditation, people being silent, people singing and dancing, they're our spiritual practices. But they wanted to see it much more manifest more clearly.
She wants to.
Oh, yes.
His Divine Grace has big plans for Findhorn.
We would love to see, first and foremost, a temple, a wonderful temple arise in the middle of the community which is dedicated to the service of the Lord. Whereas now, they are wonderful people, but there is no clearly defined nucleus or the center of the community. And if that happens, then community will become much more richer.
To get a taste of the Findhorn spirit, these 19 newcomers had each paid around £330, but soon they'll be put to work. First, Franco, the group leader, must teach them to attune or to look inside for guidance from God, to decide which of the 9 work departments they should spend the week in.
So we go into a meditation first, and then I will ask you that you choose and elect a card. And once you've chosen the card, we're going to see how you feel with your choice. Shall we go into the meditation then? Very simply, just allow your body to be activated into whatever would be a good choice for you.
The problem is, most guests want to work in Findhorn's famous gardens, where this week there are only 4 places. So after meditating and asking God, they have to draw straws for the best jobs. But not everyone is happy.
I'm pretty disappointed because...
So if they're not satisfied, they can swap.
So you just use squidging this and then use the old towels and you can just...
Shirley Plunkett, the holistic healer from Ireland, attuned to work in the kitchens.
Thanks, Kit.
But has found herself cleaning toilets.
So a squidge and a soak?
A squidging and then a soak. And then that all the way up the other way. And then give it a scrubbing with the old, this little toilet brush.
Okay.
But you're really lucky it's clean and it should soak through.
Okay.
Too much though.
I think that's enough. I never thought I'd see the day where I'd be cleaning men's toilets. Probably is the worst job, but it's humbling for me to do it. I don't normally clean other people's toilets. When people arrive here, they're told that they're going to have to work for 4 mornings a week, and I suppose people might have mixed reaction to that, thinking, oh, why am I paying to come here and then I'm asked to work as well? But it's just part of the community team building spirit that they want to create here. For me, it's a bit of a change. It's different. It's working with other people. It means a lot to me, actually.
That means there's often a lot of good instances.
Work in Findhorn is considered love in action, a manifestation of their God and spiritual existence.
I mean, I'm so definitely looking for more of a structured way of kind of exploring some issues of community, spirituality, and yep.
Before quitting her job, Sandra worked as an IT expert. Now she's demolishing old caravans.
There's a piece, yes. I don't have a problem with it because I think you have to get out and kind of participate a little bit. And it's good there is this opportunity during this week because I think it would be an incomplete experience week without having that part of the picture and having that part of the experience. We're not participating as full members, but to get kind of the idea of what this place is, you need to start demolishing the caravans or working in the kitchen and working with others. So.
Michaela from New Zealand is putting love into action in the gardens, digging the compost heap.
Experience week can be quite stressy and everyone's going through like a huge roller coaster and ups and downs, highs and lows.
Well, especially new to many people.
Yeah.
At the start of the day, each work group is taught to tune in to the vibrations of each other and the task at hand.
What happens is we tune to ourselves, the other people we're working with, and also the plants or the flowers or the compost, and just set our intent for the day and say thank you to the beings that are helping us with our work for today. Yeah, just an acknowledgement that we're here and we're here to put love into action.
In Findhorn's gardens, tuning in also helps to establish the right state of mind to communicate with the plants.
It's a stream of thought that says that there is spirit behind everything, any physical matter, and spiritual beings that help create that from the life force that is from God. And that's what started the cooperation with nature here at Findhorn.
It's like when you go and pick a flower, it's nice to ask the flower whether we have permission to pick it. It's just a respect and a connection there with the energy of the flower and the energy of yourself.
Yeah, you can get a feeling or anything.
Answer. Yes, sometimes it does talk.
Sometimes it will flutter in the wind or something that let you know that it feels it's okay.
Communicating with plants is one of the fundamental philosophies at Findhorn. Dorothy McLean, one of the original founders, has been talking to the plants since the 60s.
Nature has intelligence, and we can communicate with the plant and explain to it as if it were a conscious, intelligent human person that why we're doing it, what we want to do, and ask for its cooperation. You make contact with your own divinity, and from that dimension inside myself, I go to the equal dimension behind the plant, which I call the deva of that particular species, and we can communicate with that level of it.
Craig Gibson doesn't talk to devas or fairies, but chats to his plants for practical gardening tips.
I feel that plants respond. I think any form of life responds to some level of communication. You know, I'll talk to them just like, well, you don't seem to be doing very well. I mean, what's going on? What do I need to do to maybe help you? Are you in the wrong place? You know, I can ask them questions like that. I may not get an immediate answer, but I might be having a shower that night, and all of a sudden I sort of get a feeling, oh my goodness, maybe I did plant it in the wrong place, or maybe if I give it a little bit more liquid manure, it actually might be just the right thing for it.
Even in Findhorn's communal kitchens, Stuart Friendship, a chef, takes communication with nature seriously.
I've asked a plant before if it wants to be eaten. I don't do it every shift. I don't ask every carrot if it wants to be eaten. But I'm attuned to the vegetables, and well, I'll ask if they want to be eaten. Yeah. No wrong with that.
That's part of what they're here on the planet to do. Life serves higher life, and that's okay. And of course we are liable to think they feel like we feel if we were chopped up, but of course that's nonsense. We're just projecting our human feelings on them.
Oh, it sits very well with me that the plant can be there and I can eat it, because we're doing it with love. And we tune into the plants and ask them if they'd like to be eaten, which sounds very bizarre, but yeah, that's kind of true.
Findhorn Spiritual Communities College, Sandra and the Initiation Week newcomers are playing personal development games. To start, the games are designed to dissolve inhibitions, but they don't seem to be doing much for Sandra.
Games are not my favorite thing to do, so it's kind of interesting. Just kind of trying to go with the flow and just deal with it, and we'll see what the next kind of phase brings, the ones that are supposed to be a little more in-depth and stuff. You know, you have things that you just don't always enjoy. Withholding judgment.
For Michaela, it's about finding her place in the world.
There's symbolism in a lot of the games, like the one that we did in the knots. Is kind of like an interconnective that we are all individuals, but to work towards a certain purpose. We all play a different part, a different role. There was people guiding and leading, and there was other people following along, but giving their love and their support and nodding. So everybody's got a different role and different purpose.
In this final game, they're asked to explore their emotions. For Franco, it's about trust and caring.
One person is lying on the floor and he goes into a space of block, being confined, being in a very dark space. And somebody else has the purpose of unfolding her and bringing her back to life, taking care, being a kind of midwife. It's a very short game, yet in that time it's possible to experience caring for somebody, being taken care of. I can see it in the eyes of the people when they have finished the game, and there's no way of explaining it. Very simple, yet powerful.
For Shirley, the whole afternoon has been an emotional experience.
As it developed, I realized there was more to it than simple games, that it was people really connecting with other people on all levels. It was very interesting and very moving parts of it, where people had to unfold a person that was very, very special. And the trust and the unconditional love feelings were really good.
Even Sandra is impressed.
It was actually pretty fabulous, I thought. I'm still actually kind of giddy from it. It was really weird. It was a real high, and the whole group was just flying at the end. And you know, there's about 5 or 6 of us who are just giggling like mad. You can't help but just go with it, and it's incredibly powerful. I mean, it's kind of overwhelmingly powerful. I just feel a lot of gratitude and love, and just really giggly.
The Indian guru and his wife are continuing with his fact-finding mission, but he seems to be coming to some stark conclusions.
Findhorn people's spirituality is not one tangible thing that you can put your finger on and say, this is their spirituality. It will be fair to say, according to themselves, that they are searching for spirituality. They have not found any particular practice that they can settle on. Like a kind of jack of all trades, but master of none. They are a bunch of anarchists. In a sweet way they answer this, and recalcitrants who do not deliberately want to accept someone as their guru. Just fresh, like that, Govinda. We offer it to Lord.
Continually we are being approached, and different people are coming here thinking, I've got the gift for the next level of development for this place, or they seem to be so open and friendly, maybe I can change their ways.
Because this community is viewed as a community of loose morals and a place of fringes and hippies which do not have very good moral standards, so the traditional teachers would have deliberately stayed away from this place.
He's talking about, well, what are your morals, and will you say, well, our morals, they're not loose, but my morals are different than your morals, and can they coexist? As long as those morals don't abuse another person's basically space and place.
So we would like to create a temple dedicated to the service of the Lord, the glory of the God here. And now the Findhorn community have the opportunity to have a spiritual master.
He would like to see us adopt his philosophical and religious worldviews. And we all say, oh yeah, I mean what you're saying and what you're doing is really great, but we don't want it all.
It's the halfway point in the Findhorn initiation week. Leaders Franco and Karen want the group to seek their own personal connection with nature.
We are going to spend some time here, and the invitation is to spend this time in the company of nature, release for a while the company of the human beings, and spend this time communicating with what surrounds us.
Communicating with nature has always been an essential part of spiritual life at Findhorn. The founders of the Findhorn community visited this very wood to ask for advice from the nature spirits.
Since the early times, that's a place used in order to connect with nature, and traditionally it is a place where the veil between the worlds, nature, human being, subtle beings, is very thin. So we come here for this traditional link, and also because it's such a beautiful place.
In a nature sharing, what happens is that the person will come here and they can view it just as an outing, you know, just as a kind of nice jaunt. It's Tuesday afternoon, we get to go out in nature and be by the river. Or they get a chance to experiment, to come out and to make their own connection, own sort of divine connection with nature.
I feel a sense of peace, connectedness, harmony, just being one with the tree.
For many, even at Findhorn, tree hugging is a cliched image of hippies. But for Franco, it's a powerful spiritual practice.
At times I see that something which is very powerful in the relationship with tree is that tree don't judge me. So I can tell whatever, I can release any sadness or whatever without the danger of the tree judging me or misunderstanding. And so that's something that some people do. I do it very often. First I see what tree may be available to a connection, and then when I receive a signal that that's the case, I just approach it gently. I usually place my hand on the tree, both hands, and when I see that there is an invitation, a connection, I just allow my whole body to embrace it, from the belly up to the heart and also my head. And I spend some time there, and I can sense my spine resonating with the tree, and I can sense my whole treeness. At times it can be also a most physical experience. I can sense energy going through all my body. An experience which is similar to a sexual connection with the tree itself. That's what surprised me enormously the first time I did that, because I could see, wow, something is happening here. I mean, in my body, it's not only a fantasy. Actually, I sense my whole body energized in a state of sheer bliss.
Being in the woods has also raised Michaela's spirits.
It's lovely when you hear it from, you don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah. I normally evoke the angels, evoke the fairies. Actually, I connected with the mermaids today.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Cleansing my past. Then just preparing to go in, rock climbing naked.
To be yourself.
To be myself, yeah. Totally. Be free in my body and just love my body and appreciate it and feel all my senses and it's part of the reason why we've come into this physical body is to experience every part of ourselves. Be freezing cold and vibrate.
For each individual, Experience Week may be very different. American Sandra remains sceptical about some of the beliefs at Findhorn.
You know, I still don't think like, you know, these thin veils of, you know, the other world necessarily exist in here anywhere more than any place else on earth. I think it's certainly very beautiful here, and then that gets people, when you're kind of told, go into nature and just dive into and really contemplate it. I mean, that was extremely powerful, and I think some people had never done that before, and even I hadn't really done it quite that same way. I mean, just staring into, you know, the river and just seeing where, you know, just a small aspect of it versus the larger picture, and kind of contemplating that.
For me personally, I came here to focus on my physical because I've been very ungrounded, and to go further on the spiritual journey, I believe you need to have a good foundation like a house. And when that foundation is built, then you can build mountains, you can build skyscrapers, and you can be a very powerful, loving, sensitive, empowered spiritual being.
Heart chakra hug.
And you hug each other, you grip each other like this, and then you're meant to bounce up and down at the same time and kind of let go. And your heart chakra your heart chakras are bouncing together. I think sometimes you let go and other times you can just hold on to each other and bounce. It's not the best place to do it though. On the edge of a cliff.
Back at the community centre, Cornelia Featherston and the newly formed spiritual core group are attempting to get guidance from God to choose a design for the new community logo.
There is no way to intellectually come to a conclusion that will really fulfill that task, because there are probably a design for every person in this community, and there will be strong likes and strong dislikes.
To get guidance, they meditate, and after meditating, everyone should have the same answer.
So what I'd like to do is just to go inside and let us connect with the center of light, manifesting a perfect expression of that light in the form of a symbol, a beautiful new sign.
For almost a year now, the community has failed to agree on the design. Tim Barrable is a graphic designer in the community. He's well aware of their decision-making powers.
I can show you one or two things that we came up with initially, which was this idea. It covered the whole eco-village and the windmills and the fact that this thing's multiple, it's rainbow. There's a whole range of people here and it all goes round and round. The reaction was very much, oh, we don't want that, it looks like the Teletubbies. And I actually think that's a great analogy. You know, the Teletubbies, this is smiley happy land, you know, you all go around hugging each other and smiling. And you have big windmills going around and everything is all very well. And, you know, I think the Teletubbies is actually quite a good analogy for this place. I really do think they need to get their act together. And anywhere else in the world, that process would be delegated to a team of people who knew what they were doing, not a team of people pretending to know what they're doing.
They've even been given a grant of £2,000 to pay for the new signs, but they're running out of money and so far they've little to show for it.
I'm drawn to this one, and I had a vision of angels throwing this to each other,
It was very strange. It was quite a clear vision.
Yeah, I've got a very similar picture of the hands holding the earth with little box of light coming from behind it.
I like the idea of a torch, and I also like it to see the hand that is holding it, and I would like to see it very obviously attached to nature, which is such...
So after almost an hour of meditation, some of the group seemed to agree that it should look like a torch, with hands and a globe, and have something to do with nature. But there were also some new ideas.
I like the idea of there being a little bit more liveliness to it, and I said let's put a light and a solar powered battery on there.
Cornelia Featherstone, leader of the newly formed spiritual core group, has employed a designer and has a brand new proposal for the community logo.
Whoever I've showed it so far just said, how beautiful. And beauty is one of the qualities we really want to express here, because beauty is another expression of our love and care for each other, for the world. And beautiful it certainly is.
All she needs now is to get the core group to agree.
The quality of beauty in your heart.
And the object of beauty that I wanted to share with you is the next stage of the design of the symbol for the entrance.
Not seemingly what came out of the various meditations and collective group consciousness. So
it did remind me very much of a symbol of a yoga and meditation group that I was part of in Hertfordshire. I really don't go much for this kind of symbol.
Thank whoever did it, but I'm not madly enthused.
I tend to agree that it isn't strong enough a symbol, and that it's containing, it's not going out enough for my feeling.
Okay, we just need to take in all the things that we hear and move on with it. It has been holding us up for almost a year now. We have had a lot of time listening and thinking and feeling. We can do this for another 10 years if we not take the boldness of one small step. That is not radical, but in taking it, that's actually radical. So I'm very much committed in getting that sign up.
I would actually be very happy with it. I think it's got a lot of symbolism and a lot of possibilities, and people can read things into it, and it's quite simple and easy to be put onto letterheads and things like that.
I find it very bland, and I was going to say parochial, and it means nothing to me.
Despite numerous meetings and endless meditations, there's still no decision and no new sign.
I don't mind having that candle and that boat as a temporary measure, but I really would love to see some symbol which signifies our connection to the rest of the world.
There will always be some people say, but I don't like that color, I don't like that symbol. But what my goal is that the process of making these signs, of coming to the symbol, is one empowering many individuals in the community and not alienating anyone.
We work with consensus and with the greatest good for all. However, you know, that could lead to total mediocrity.
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Radha.
The visiting guru still wants to build a temple at the centre of Findhorn and offer himself as a focus for their worship. And finally he sits down with community elder Craig to discuss his plans.
We made a deliberate point of coming and engaging with the Findhorn community, but the traditionalists look upon this community as something to be avoided.
Oh, definitely. From the right-wing evangelical born-again Christian perspective, we are the Antichrist, and we are also seen as we're like the Vatican of the New Age. And yet, you know, you can see for yourself, if you're slightly open-minded, that we're actually fairly harmless.
We would certainly love to have temple in the area. Not just a temple, but create a community around the temple. to be able to work with the Findhorn community. Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, great idea.
Yeah?
If there's a group of people that are really sincere and have the ways in which and means to manifest it, then nothing really would stop it.
Do we have you as one of the people who will support and help perhaps to bring about a shrine dedicated to their lordship, Lakshmi Narayana?
I couldn't say yes and I don't say no, because I try to support all things.
Sure.
But I would not be one of the leaders or the forefront of it, but I would never obstruct anything like that, and if people wanted advice, that's what I do.
The Guru has failed to recruit Craig. All find a following at Findhorn. Next stop, Australia.
Give my love to Oz.
Yes, all of Australia will
love to Oz, huh? We can give you love to Oz next summer. I won't say down a few tubes for me, mate, but because I know you won't do it.
After 7 days in the community, Sandra Paddock from the US is on her last shift in the maintenance department. She's still unsure about her time in Findhorn.
The week as a whole it's been a good week of personal and spiritual development. I never expected to come here and be this pinnacle experience, that I was going to have this one crystallized moment and then this watershed of everything kind of happening, and I wasn't looking for that. And but I've had a good week. I like it here. They're challenging themselves, and it's great to be in an atmosphere where people are doing that. Are people perfect in it? No, but nobody is, and I don't think it's a utopia, but it's good. It's a good environment, and I've really enjoyed my time here. But it's hard for me to say how I've changed because I don't know yet.
Despite paying to dig a compost heap, Michaela is elated with her spiritual holiday.
I'm having an absolute blast. Yeah. Beautiful weather, beautiful place, wonderful people, and just lots of learning, and I love to learn and of course have fun. So.
And Shirley, who ended up cleaning toilets, thinks she's discovered the ideal way of life.
Personally, I would love to see everybody on the earth living like this. I'm not sure if it's feasible, but I would love to see everybody just living in harmony, working together, total feeling of cooperation. You can feel the love everywhere. It's good, it's special.
What is happening here is not learning, it's reawakening something that was once known and that has been disregarded or lost. It's very simple, and it proves how human beings, simply by being themselves and open, they can support each other and create such healing experiences.
That's next Monday at 8. Next, in the Haven.
It's a very dangerous thing to do, to cut a tree around here.
There's a family holiday.
Have you had a nice time?
No. They hated it.
Goodness gracious, you have you seen?
And there may be a Findhorn wedding.
We can't get legally married, end of story.